Yes, we are live. We thank you, Lord. Today's session is going to be amazing. Physiotherapy. Where are all my women, all my ladies, all my sisters? I'm wearing my tracksuit because it's physiotherapy session. I don't want to carry last. I don't want to be odd. All right, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Most importantly, ladies, women, sisters, beauty queens, adorable women. Today, I am going to be featuring an amazing young woman that is going to be taking us through physiotherapy for the modern day woman. I don't know about you, but I'm a modern day woman. Huh? Hey, my baby girl. My baby girl came first today. Ozi, how are you, darling? So can you please share, drop the link on our WhatsApp platform, share it on all our platforms so we can start, darling. And please inform our guests that we are live. That's, what's her name? Dorcas. So while we wait for Dorcas to join, I just want to say hello to you. Happy weekend. Thank God it's weekend. Thank God it's Saturday. I'm among those who always look forward to Saturdays because Mondays to Fridays are really mentally challenging for me. Lots of things to read, things to research on, and all that. Hi, darling. Hi, baby girl. So I like Saturdays. I don't like Sunday nights because I know it's going to take me to Monday and the journey continues. All right. So I am very much in love with Saturday. That's when I'm done with my cleaning. And today we want to stretch our muscles, every part of our bodies as queens. We don't want to have our bloods not circulating properly. So those that know me know that I have an eagle eye. I love to catch them young. When I see a young seed, I always like to nurture it. And this right here that I'm featuring today is one of those young seeds that is doing amazing things. And so I'm going to be bringing her to join me. And she's going to tell you about herself. So I see a lot of potential in this young woman. And I love what she's doing as a physiotherapist. And you know, coming from Africa or in Nigeria. Hi, baby girl. How are you?
Hello, good evening,
Good
ma.
evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank
You're
you. And you?
right on time. And so I was just talking about you before I let you introduce yourself. So in Africa, let me just use Nigeria before others will come at me and say, hey, speak for your country. In Africa or in Nigeria, we don't have this very specialist kind of professions like physiotherapists, things like that. They are really very rare. At least during my time, I schooled in Nigeria, my first degree. I never heard anybody say they are physiotherapists. We only hear about things like that in the Western world. So I got to know, not that I didn't know, but I got to keep seeing a lot of them over here. And so when the Lord brought this beautiful, young, amazing lady to me, and I found out she's a physiotherapist. I'm like, wow, that's amazing because these are very rare professions. It's not like law. Everybody's studying law. Everybody's studying medicine. Everybody's studying engineering. You know, these beautiful fields like this are very rare in Africa, in Nigeria. And so I find it interesting that we can, you know, talk about it. So we decided to put something together for our women, for our audience, you know, to take physiotherapy very seriously. I think the only physiotherapy session, to be honest, I am exercise prone. I do a lot of exercise. But the only physiotherapy session I ever did was when I had work injury. That was the only time I actually went for physiotherapy session, and I kind of enjoyed it. But I didn't continue because over here it's expensive. It's only if you have your insurance and all that. as opposed to Nigeria, where you can always get things like that at a cheaper rate. So I am very much interested. I have my notepads to write down today, and I'm trusting that those joining, they're going to write down. We want to learn, we want to unlearn, we want to relearn. And so I'm going to be handing the mic over to Dorcas to introduce herself. I like when people introduce themselves instead of the written one that we just used to make our post. I want her to introduce herself to the audience, and then I will begin to ask her those questions related to physiotherapy for the modern day woman, because I'm a modern day woman. Am I ashamed of this? I think I'm still modern day.
Yeah.
Hi, Dorcas. It's nice to meet you. Can we meet you?
Hi, good evening, man. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm Dorcas Rotimi, just like our host has said, and I'm a physiotherapist by profession. As a physiotherapist, we are much interested in the overall quality of life of individuals under our care. So we want you to have a good quality of life, and not just that, we want to ensure that you are functional in your activities of daily living. So that is pretty much what my job description requires. And I love I love the field of physiotherapy. I just got into it just recently, after studying, but so far so good. It's been an amazing experience. And I'm happy to be here today to share my experiences and to share from my little bank of knowledge so that it can benefit you all today.
Yes.
Thank you.
I always believe that, when people go, I always see these job interviews or job description, and it's okay, they need somebody within this age range or whatever, and then they'll put 20 years work experience. And I'm wondering, did the person start working in their mother's womb? And so why am I saying this? I know she mentioned that she just delved into or started practicing in this field after studying, but I just want you to know that the years of studying it is equivalent to your years of experience. That's just the truth. And so you're a physiotherapist. You don't need to have become my age before you say I'm a physiotherapist. You have the knowledge. So daily, as you practice, you have experience. So if you practice yesterday, you have experience. Today's show is another experience added to you. All right. So I'm just going to ask you something. When we're much young, like you, or much younger than you, our parents just say, "Oh, study law. Oh, study medicine. Oh, in my case, they wanted me to do law." Because I was very good in literature and all that, and I hated law. No offense to the lawyers like Hosanna and Barrister Wanimi, I just don't like that profession. But I remember my mom wanted me to study that course. You're good in arts, you should do law. I said I'd rather not go to school than to study law. Thankfully, I didn't study law. I don't like law. So what propelled you, or what inspired you to study physiotherapy?
Okay. Well, right from when I was growing up, my parents weren't the type to like tell you to go to a certain field. They gave us the liberty to do what we wanted to do.
Kudos to them.
So as of the
Amazing
time,
parents.
yeah. So as of the time when I was to enter the university, still contemplating what I should study and all, I didn't want to go to medicine. No offense to the medical doctors. I didn't just want to go that line, but I knew I was interested in something in the health sector. So I was still searching for that path that I would at least find some sort of, passion, or will I say peace in it. And then I somehow came across physiotherapy on the internet. I did a lot of research, and I found out that okay, this is a good profession, and I didn't make a wrong decision.
I can see
I just wanted
that.
to put that.
That's amazing. All right, thank you for giving us that background information about you, because I just wanted us to know, because there might be people still contemplating, even if they are graduates, they're still contemplating what field in health should I delve into. And so this one thing I can pick from what you just shared is that you did research, you were intentional, you researched, you didn't just Oh, everybody's doing medicine and surgery. Let me run into medicine and surgery. Oh, everybody's doing this one. You researched, which is very important. So I hope you're ready for my questions. So my first question is, with many women balancing careers, motherhood, and personal well-being, how can physiotherapy support their physical and mental health?
Okay. Yes, that's a very good question because we live in the current world we live in now demands a lot from women. You know, it's not the same thing as it was in the days of old. These days we have women, balancing career, balancing, they go to work, come back, tend to their family, and still try to keep their heads above water. So it's a lot of things. So I would say physical therapy is an important aspect that comes to play in these various dynamics of the modern day woman's life. In that, you know, everything that happens influences or impacts our bodies in different ways, physically, just like you mentioned, mentally. And then when it comes to physiotherapy, we are much concerned with your physical health. How do all these things that happen in your day-to-day life affect your physical health? And then we see that, when it comes down to your physical health, there's a lot of stress on your joints, a lot of stress on your muscles, a lot of stress on your body generally. So physical therapy comes to play in different ways, managing pain, supporting you, teaching you ergonomics. Ergonomics is a very important aspect of physiotherapy, which a lot of people do not know. We teach you postures. A lot of women do not know how to lift things, how to, sit properly, the types of equipment that you should use. It should be ergonomically fit, structured and tailored to your jobs, these kind of things. These are what physiotherapy is all about. It helps you with your posture, helps you, manage your physical health in terms of your bodies, your movement. For women who sit, or if your job demands that you do some certain movement, there's something we call work-related musculoskeletal disorders. And these are disorders that come from prolonged postures in your workplace. So physiotherapy comes into play. We advise you, okay, in this particular postures, how do you modify it so that your body doesn't come under undue too much stress? So physiotherapy comes into play in a lot of ways.
Thank you so much. One thing you just said that is very profound for me is teaching us how to lift things. I do not know how to lift things. I remember many times my husband would say, babe, that's not how to lift it. You're going to cause pain to your your spinal cord and all that, blah blah blah. That's not to lift it. You lift it like this. So this is very important, especially for women too that have jobs that they have prolonged sitting. You just made a very huge point right now. I don't know if others can hear you clearly. Your voice is a little bit thin on my end. If maybe you can increase your volume. I know you're using AirPod. I don't use AirPod because AirPod always sometimes steals the sound. So check for me.
Let me check my end.
Okay. If others can hear you, that I'm hearing you do it a bit thin. So please don't join in. Sorry.
Is it better now?
Yeah, somewhat better, yes. Just joining, you're welcome to Physiotherapy for the Modern Day Woman. If you're an ancient of days like me, sorry, you will become modern day woman today. And please do help us to share the link. And this, when we talk of woman, stop thinking we're looking at mothers. We're looking at every girl that has started, at least menstruate. You're a woman. You can give birth. So please, woman encompasses all age range, all right? So my next question is, I mentioned when you were talking, you talked about prolonged sitting. So how does this prolonged sitting, that is, very common in remote jobs, very common in like work from home jobs and all that, how does it impact women's health, and what physiotherapy strategies can help them,
Okay, thank you so much for that question. For women whose jobs require that they sit, at a spot for a very long time. First of all, I'll talk about the ergonomics part of it to start with. If you're someone who has a working station and you're required to sit for long, your chair has to be of ergonomic standard. That is, a good description of an ergonomic chair. It has a proper back support. This is important for your back because a lot of people tend to come down with low back pain as a result of prolonged sitting. Also, it should have armrest that allows your elbows to be properly flexed, bent in the right position at 90 degrees. Then your feet as well, your knees should be properly bent to the same 90 degrees, and your feet should be well balanced on the floor. So if you have a chair that doesn't meet all these descriptions, you have to modify your chair. It is very important because we don't know how the extent to which these changes that we do not know about impact our daily health. But once we are able to factor in all this and put them in the right conditions, we'll see that we'll see a lot of improvement in our physical health. Because a lot of times you get people who come down with low back pain, and most of it is related to their workplace, their workstation, how everything is positioned. And if it's not ergonomically fit, modified to your standard as a person. Because in Nigerian workspaces, they don't follow all these principles, all that. But it's important that your workstation should be modified for your own benefit and not just anyhow pre-made design. For every person, there should be, ergonomically fit, workstations for each person. So that's on the ergonomic side. Then for people who sit in a position for a very long time, it's always advised that you take breaks at intervals. Say 1 hour, you stand up, do some stretches so that you allow your body to be relaxed. Your muscles that were tensed up while you were sitting begin to, ease up. And a lot of changes happen when you move around, improve blood circulation, improve blood flow. And also, I advise women who sit for prolonged hours in their workstation to take breaks, try to do stretches, move your hands, move your legs, move around, take walks and come back. All these things, once you do them, you notice changes in your body. So these are some of the ways you can, physiotherapy can help you in this regard.
I agree. My previous job, and my current job requires sitting a lot, and I observe that if I don't take walk, stretch, I begin to feel very intense pains all over my body. So I do agree, but I think people don't pay attention to this. They barely pay attention to this. So thank you for enlightening us. They barely pay attention. They only go for break. I know during break, it's 1 hour over here, and it's just to eat. So they just get up from their desk, go to another desk to eat, and then they sit for 1 hour. They go back and sit for another like 4 hours or so. So this is very enlightening. So my next question is: so women in physically demanding jobs, especially over there in Nigeria, physically demanding jobs. Not that we don't have physically demanding jobs here for women, but how can physiotherapy play a role in injury prevention and recovery?
Okay. For women in physically demanding jobs that require a lot of your physical input, if you are in jobs that require you to stand for long or sit for long, or lift things, everything, it's almost similar to what I've said already. There are lifting techniques. If you're in a job that demands that you lift things, there are lifting techniques that you should follow. If you are bending down just to make it more practical, if you're bending down to pick anything that is below your hand level, you should make sure that once you're bending down, your spine is not bending down with you. Your spine should remain aligned in the position that it is. The only thing that you should be bending is your knees and your hips. Your back should remain aligned. And it's always advisable to,
you are not hearing.
if you're
not hearing. I'm telling myself now because I do not do this, and I know that is wrong. Thank you. Go on.
So it's always advisable that you either go beside the item that you want to pick, and you pick it. And if it's something that requires, that is heavy, you want to break it into different stages. So you put a stool, lift it first to that stool so that it gets to the level where you can bring it up to your chest wall before carrying it. But a lot of people, and we can also blame them because of the time constraints and whatever that is demanded of us in our job places. But as women, it's important to know that we have to be really, really conscious of our health, because if we don't take notice of all these things now, in the long run it will affect us. We have a lot of women coming down with different joint problems, osteoarthritis and the likes. If you check back to their younger days, you see that a lot of these things were ignored. The other day on my page, I was talking about women who wear high heel shoes a lot, and I said that if it's possible, you can try out alternatives or minimize the way you wear those high heeled shoes. Anything higher than 2 inches is you putting yourself at risk of different joint problems, and you may not know it now, but in the long run our body tends to we think our body adjusts to these things, but sometimes in a very unfavorable manner. So we have to be very, very conscious of all these things that we do and how it affects our health.
Thank you so much for that. That's very well explained. Thank you. I know about the shoe, although I don't wear heel. But I do know, I've met a few persons that it affected a lot in their later age, their later years. They kind of started having lots of pains, and they're going from one therapy to the other. And, right now, when they try to advise other younger women, like, slow down on your heels, they think they're joking. And lifting things, I've been lifting things wrongly. And like you said, it's not like some is time constraint, some it's just we want to do it sharp. Why do I need to start squatting? Because what you described is more like squatting, when I can just do like this and carry the thing I want to carry. But listening to you, I think doing something right is better than doing something fast. But we always preach do the thing fast as opposed to do it right. So thank you for this. My next question is, what role does physiotherapy play in women's health beyond pain management, especially in areas like pregnancy, postpartum recovery, and menopause?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. There is a specific field in physiotherapy that is called women's health physiotherapy, where everything is tailored to the health of women before and after pregnancy, and just the general overall health of women. So for even before we come into pregnancy, we always advise women to strengthen their pelvic floor muscles. Now, the pelvic floor muscles are the muscles that contain your internal organs around your genital area. So those are the muscles that help hold your womb and every other thing around that area. So for young women, it is important that even before you get married or before you start, the idea of conception and getting pregnant, that your muscles are strong and fit enough to carry pregnancies. So we don't talk about this a lot. A lot is not said about it, but once you start before pregnancy, a lot of the complications that happen after pregnancy will be reduced, because we see there are a lot of women who come down with their pelvic muscles become very weak. It's also part of the pregnancy process anyway, but if you start on time to train those muscles, it will be easier to get them back in shape after pregnancy, that is postpartum. So there are a lot of things that physiotherapy do. We advise on pelvic muscle strengthening, core muscle strengthening the muscles of the abdomen, the muscles that support childbearing. There is this condition called rectus abdominis, abdominal erectile, the separation of the abdominal muscles during pregnancy. And if your core muscles are not strengthened, are weak, even before pregnancy, after pregnancy it will be difficult to get them back into shape. So we advise women to stay physically fit, train those muscles, get them tensed up, get them ready for the action even before it happens, so that while and before, during and after the pregnancy, you don't come down with a lot of complications that you would spend years trying to get yourself back into shape. Physiotherapy also helps during, menopause. As women age, a lot of things happen. Okay, before I get into menopause, let me talk about pregnancy itself. During pregnancy, there's a lot of changes in the woman's body.
That's true.
A lot of hormones are released. There's this hormone in particular, the relaxin hormone, it's a pregnancy hormone. And what it does is it loosens the muscles of the joints. During pregnancy, the joints get loosened. So these are some of the things that happen during pregnancy. So physiotherapy also comes into play in, pregnancy. We have exercises, specific exercises that are tailored to women. So you don't give everybody the same kind of exercises, because everybody is not the same, and their conditions are peculiar. You may have people who are carrying twins. You may have someone who is the first time of, getting pregnant and, going through labor and the rest. So every exercise is tailored to the individual itself, to prevent risks and a lot of complications. So even after, pregnancy, menopause and the rest, as women age, there are also changes. Women experience a lot of changes right from birth till, till they leave the earth. So physiotherapy comes to play. Anything that has to do with your physical structure, just know that physiotherapy comes into play in that. So, muscle strengthening and the rest of them, just like I've already mentioned.
Thank you so much. So detailed. I like the fact that you went from pre-pregnancy, which is whether maybe you're even in secondary school, you're even in the university, you're still a young woman. You need those physiotherapy sessions. So don't think, okay, it's when I get married. No, she captured everything about a woman. So there is the pre, before you get married, before you get pregnant, there is the during pregnancy, and there is after pregnancy, and then there is when you age. So the things that you mentioned are very profound, and thank you for that. So my next question is, as technology evolves, many women are turning to digital fitness programs. I know a few of them that are doing this. How can physiotherapy guide them in making safe exercise choices?
Okay, thank you. We're in a digital age, and a lot of those things are going to come up. Even physiotherapists too are moving into the digital space. But just like I already mentioned earlier, it is important to note that exercise sessions should be tailored to individual needs. You don't see a bunch of people doing a particular thing and you go head on and join them without you analyzing the risks that surround your own personality, your own body structure, and the rest of them. This is one of the things we do in physiotherapy. It's called exercise prescription. We first of all do what is called risk stratification, where we train you first to know where you stand, before we prescribe exercises to you. So it's important you go after people who are certified trainers, not just look for anybody online and follow them. Make sure they are certified in whatever they are doing, certified trainers, certified physiotherapists, certified exercise therapists, whoever they may be. Make sure they are certified. And having the knowledge that your exercise plans have to be tailored to you as a person is also important. So that, because there are a lot of cases of people who went, joined different things, and at the end of the day it affected them. That is why it's important. In physiotherapy, we practice individualized care. So per individual, what is required of this individual? What does this person need to stay fit? What does this person need to get better? What does this person need to have their functional abilities intact? So that is my own contribution.
Thank you so much. This individualized exercise is very important, because like you said, we tend to copy and paste. Anything we see online, we want to be involved in that. And I've seen a lot of people get hurt or damaged or destroyed by doing that, because they had an underlying health condition, some known, some unknown. And you now join somebody in doing a particular thing, a particular kind of exercise, and then something now happens to you. So I'm glad that the physiotherapists, they kind of structure it to suit an individual's need, and both medical needs and otherwise. Thank you for that. So those of you that go on internet to copy and paste, this person is lifting, is doing like this, please consult a physiotherapist before you do that, so that they can know if you have any underlying health conditions or anything, that might pose as a threat to what you want to copy and do. No longer copy and paste. All right, so we're almost coming to the end of our session. I'm sure that you would be keeping something that you'd share with us, like your final thoughts. I just wanted to put that out to you, so I start thinking of that, a final thoughts that would I'll be speaking to the different levels of a woman. So the pre-pregnancy, the pregnancy. When I talk about pre-pregnancy, I'm talking about both young, because both unmarried and all that. Then the pregnancy, the after pregnancy, and all that. So just a final thought that you can give to us as we call it a wrap. So my next question is, how does physiotherapy contribute to improving women's posture? Very important, mobility and strength, especially as they age, even before they age. Please begin from even those ones younger than you and as young as you, because posture is a very important thing. So I do hope that you understand this question.
Thank you so much. I understand it because, I have my own personal experience.
Okay.
While I was growing up, I was in primary school, I had a best friend, and she always adopted a particular posture. She would, slouch and bend her neck forward in a particular manner. And, out of curiosity and everything, I was just following her because she was my best friend. And along the line, it affected me because I adopted that posture for a long time. And so I struggle, even up till now, I still try to correct the posture. Because one thing about our body is that once we teach it something, over time it learns, our muscles learn it. There's something called muscle memory. So it learns, if you keep doing something consistently, it will adopt that particular posture. Your muscles will adjust to that posture, everything just shifts to accommodate that particular posture. So even now, I'm trying to, get myself back to the normal alignment of the back, the spine, the neck, and everything. So I think it's important for women to also pay attention to their posture. It's very, very important, because, of course, it's our body, and we want to look good, we want to feel good, we want our bodies to, be good itself. So it's important to note that your spine at all times should be aligned. It should be straight. You should not slouch. No slouching forward. Once you slouch like this, you are even affecting the curvature of this spine, because the spine has its own curvature. If we are to look at our bodies from the side view, we see that it is like an S-like structure of the spine. So any movement that doesn't follow that alignment, it's we adjusting the spinal curvature. And it is, like I because you are teaching it, whatever you teach it is what it's picking up, and it's sending to the spinal cord, everything is readjusting, and so it's important that your back is straight, your neck is straight, chin up. So if you're sitting like me, I want us to just do something quickly. If you're seated like me, yeah, try to put your hand at your back. One of your hands, put it at your back, and then sit upright, and then roll your shoulders backward. Roll your shoulders backward, and then chin up like a queen. No, not too up. Exactly. This is the normal sitting posture you should adopt. the way you are seated now is normal sitting posture you should adopt. That is how your back is supposed to be aligned. So if you did that, as you just make sure you're intentional about it in your workspace, in wherever you find yourselves, this is something you have to take note of.
I can imagine myself sitting like this. I will be thinking I just won beauty pageant. Wow, that sitting position just it kind of just changed everything. Like it just births a new person in you. It just births confidence in you. It just births beauty in you. So you see, thank you for this. You see why beauty queens, this is how they always sit. I've been wondering what kind of confidence is it? They're like peacock. They're so pronounced. So ladies, women, please, can you start sitting like this? Don't sit the way I was sitting. I was just slouching. And to add to your story, when I was young, I used to be like this. I don't know, there's people that would, yeah. So I stayed like that for a long time, up until I got married, went to the university. Nobody ever told me it was a problem. It was when I got married, my husband started telling me that you sit like this, you walk like this. I said, yeah, it's okay. He said, no, you are spoiling your shape and your back. So he consciously started making me to, to push, to bring out my chest, like the normal posture. It was not easy because anything changed, like you said, affects the muscle, the spine. It wasn't easy, but I kept on practicing it every day. I now consciously told myself that you have not been standing or sitting well. You have not been walking well. You have been slouching. So it's time to start stretching your back. And I kept on doing it for many years up until now. And I'm glad I listened. So to you watching me, my darlings, the young ladies, the women, you need to ask yourself, in case you don't know, ask others, please, how is my posture? So that you start correcting. A lot of you slouch, you sit or stand, and it's as if you put in your chest. So that's a very wrong posture. And that's what she's trying to explain, that the best way to sit is practice it, one hand to push out your back, just raise your chin, not like this, just a little bit like this, just for confidence. Thank you so much for that. All right, so the second to the last question is, how can physiotherapy empower women to take charge of their health, especially in preventing chronic pain and lifestyle-related conditions?
Okay. When it comes to chronic conditions, it is important, before it gets to chronic, anything that gets to chronic had an acute stage. So that is why I always say pay attention to your bodies. Some people may have started experiencing low back pain, but they just shrug it aside and say, oh, I will, I'll get used to it. But low back pain is something that can last for a very long time if not taken care of properly right now. So if you're having significant pain, if you feel pain, strain at any part of your body, it's important to tackle it now that you feel it. Because if you leave it, if you want to accommodate the pain, if you think that your body can adjust to it, your body will adjust to it. But over the time, over a very long time, this is how we have chronic low back pain. We have chronic, different things that occur. In terms of lifestyle as well, I also mentioned lifestyle factors and the rest of them. We need to be conscious of the various activities that we do and how they impact our bodies. If you are somebody, even when it comes to laundry, doing laundry, how you sit to wash, how do you sit to wash? If you sit and you're slouching, it can affect your upper back. If you're someone who uses the washing machine, to load the washing machine, you can sit on a stool or you squat in such a way that your back is aligned and load the washing machine if it's something that is, on the lower side of the floor. Same thing when it comes to kitchen activities. If you're in the kitchen, all these are modifications that you can apply to your. If your counter is such that it is lower than where your hand should be, you can modify it. Maybe add a stool or change the table that you work with so that your body doesn't adopt any unnecessary or posture that is not supposed to, adopt for your own well-being in the long run. So physiotherapists can help you now in terms of education, relieving those pain, managing the pain now that it's still in the acute stage before it even gets to the chronic stage. Because once it gets to the chronic stage, it can still be managed, but it's chronic, it's chronic. It has already gotten to that stage. So it's important that we pay attention to our bodies.
Thank you so much. So one thing you mentioned that is that I took note of is different stages of pain. So there's acute, there's chronic, and a lot of us, when it's even when it has not gotten to acute, we don't pay attention. It comes to acute, we don't pay attention, and then it gets to chronic, we start running here and there. So pay attention to your body. Over here, I know even, yeah, in Nigeria, you can kind of regulate the level of your kitchen cupboards. You can regulate that, because most of the houses you put those things by yourself. That is, if the landlords didn't make provision for that. But here in the Western world, everything is built, except you build your house from the scratch, which is rare. And I found out that all the cupboards are, just elevated. So what I did was I had to buy a seat that I have to climb to take whatever I need to take, or put whatever I need to put. That way I don't overstretch myself, because if I stretch my hand, I can get to a few things. But I just said to myself, I'm not going to stress myself like that. Let me elevate my height. Because when God was giving height, some of us were sleepy. We didn't come on time. So I need to help myself right now that I'm awake, to elevate my height so I can get those things. Please pay attention to the things that she's telling us right now. Don't say, oh, I'm young, this is for old people. No, it's for women, it's for everybody. So please pay attention. And lastly, my question for you, our darling instructor today, what are some simple practical physiotherapy tips every modern woman can incorporate into her daily routine, for long-term well-being? So this is more like DIYs. What are the DIYs that, women can incorporate?
Okay, I think I've already mentioned some in the course of my talk earlier. So just like I said, if your work demands that you sit or you adopt a particular posture for a very long time, you'd want to change that position. If it's sitting, you want to stand up at intervals, walk around, take some stretches, drink water, move your body so that your body is relieved, proper blood circulation, and the rest of them. Other tips you could adopt is you could take walks. I don't know how our daily activities are structured, but I know that the weekends are relatively free for most of us. So early in the morning, you could just wake up, take a walk around your neighborhood, come back, just to stay fit. There's a recommended standard from WHO, but I think 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. So if you cannot keep up to that, at least take 30 minutes walk, Saturdays, Sundays, move your body. All these things are not for people who want to build muscles. Generally, as individuals, you are supposed to be physically fit, because you don't know what may happen tomorrow. We are not praying for that, but if you are stronger, if you have stronger muscles, the likelihood that you would come down with some certain conditions will be reduced. So there are a lot of things, neck stretches, stretch your neck, stretch your bodies. All these are things that you can do by yourself. So if you're adopting a particular posture for long, you want to stand and stretch the part of your body that is affected in that posture.
Thank you so much. And to add to this, those of you that you sit down to pray, prayer is even an exercise, is even a physiotherapy session. Let me just inform you. You always sit down to pray, stand up to pray. You can't pray for 15 minutes. I see a lot of young women, because Hope Springs is for women, so I'm going to spare the men. I see a lot of young women, you are so easily weak. And I'd like you to speak to that generally as a physiotherapist. You're easily weak. You can't stand for 10 minutes. You go for programs. When I was, working with Rainbow Youth before I hand it over to the Joshua that is in charge right now. You come out for prayer sessions. Young people can't stand. They can't stand for 10 minutes. They can't stand for 15 minutes. You see them, they want to quickly sit down. And at my age, I'm doing 2 hours standing and they can't stand. So this is just randomly. What would be your advice to the younger women? You know, most of them are married. Yes, I have daughters that are much younger. They're in their, I have one that is 21, 22. They're married, legally married. But you still see this trait of they are weak, easily weak. They can't stand for 10 minutes. They have to complain. My waist is paining me, my this. What is your general advice to women, especially the younger ones, that always have this, that always complain about they can't take little exercises and all that? What would be your candid advice to them?
You know, it's understandable because, like we said, this is physiotherapy for the modern day women. And the modern day world, there's a lot of demands from women. And a lot of these demands require them to be in certain positions for long. So a lot of people don't move. A lot of people are not active. And once you're not active, your muscles are not engaged. And if they're not engaged, they will not be able to withstand all this, you know, long standing and, you know, like you've already mentioned. So my advice is for them to be physically fit. They should stay fit. They should start it. You know, you don't need to go all in at once, but you can start at a particular rate. Over time, you tend to increase it. You know, just start being fit. You can start by taking walks every morning. You can now increase it to walking in the morning and in the evening. Just something that keeps your body active, because your body needs to be engaged for it to withstand all this.
Thank you so much, my darling. Thank you so much. And I tell you, you're going to go far, very far with this. I know that you're just beginning, and a time would come that the likes of you would be featured on TEDx. I just gave a prophecy. Be featured on TEDx, and where you'll be speaking, and you'll be looking at yourself, is this me? And so I just spoke this into your life, and it is done. So thank you so much for coming to share from your well of experience, your well of knowledge with us, even sharing your story with us about your former posture, and being vulnerable with the audience, so that those who have been listening, they would check themselves and begin to ask people, please, how is my posture? Am I slouching? Am I bent? I see some people, the way they stand, you can't see their chest, their breast goes in. You know, that tells you that you're already having a very wrong posture. I see a lot of people are very lazy when it comes to physiotherapy. They don't want to take the walks. They don't want to do anything. They just leave themselves and tell themselves stress. And fine, I want you to speak in general, just like give us a final advice. But I always see women make this excuse that the stress I'm going through is like physiotherapy. So it's stress. I don't know how they kind of think that because they are stressed, they don't need any form of exercise or physiotherapy session, that the stress is exercise enough for them. Do you agree with this? It's just a random thing. They'll just tell you that. Even young people, they'll tell, I'm very stressed, so that stress alone that I'm going through, and I'm slim. The way I'm slim right now, I don't think I need exercise. Is that true? People think that exercise is for fat people.
No, those are just, you know, myths. It's not true. You know, it's not true at all. Stress is different from exercise. Exercise is a form of stress, but stress, as you just mentioned, is different from exercise, because exercise is purposeful. There's a purpose for exercise. There's a reason why you are doing it. You're trying to achieve a particular aim. Stress, on the other hand, is just something that occurs as a result of the activities that we engage in daily. These are two different things. So as final note, generally, I would just say, you know, like I've always said, pay attention to your body. As a woman, you should, you know, pay attention to the dynamics with which you are functioning in the world with which you are existing, and know how you can modify your activities so that it doesn't impair on the functions that your body is meant to be, you know, carrying out. movement is medicine. We say that in physiotherapy. Movement, as simple as movement is, it is medicine enough for your body. So try and move. Make sure you are moving. Make sure you are not, staying put in one place. Make sure you are constantly on the move. Move. It's good for your body. Movement is medicine.
Thank you so much, my darling. Movement is medicine. I won't forget that. That's the last thing. That's the best way to oil a sweet meal. Movement is medicine. Thank you so much, Dorcas, for doing this session with me. I do appreciate. And to our viewers, thank you, especially the women. This program is for women. And please do share with all your friends, your sisters, so that they can pick one or two things and learn and adjust their postures, adjust the dynamics of their lives, adjust their mindset, because most of them think that exercise, physiotherapy is for fat people. No, it's for everybody. And like she said in closing, movement is medicine. Please be moving. Stop sleeping and lying down and sitting for too long. Please move around, exercise all your joints and muscles so that you don't start having all those arthritis that are now very common everywhere. Everybody, young and old, they all have arthritis right now. Movement indeed is medicine. Thank you, Dorcas, and do have yourself a beautiful weekend. I love you, and God bless. And to our viewers, thank you for staying with us till this moment. I hope you learned a lot. We're going to be bringing you something else next week. Have yourself a good weekend. For us in the West, it's still weekend. It's still afternoon. So have yourself a beautiful weekend, and God bless you. Bye-bye.